Okay, welcome to phase 4 of this Android app development journey. So we've been able to go through phase 1, which was the intro and the overview. Now we went over phase 2, which was how to design your first app, how to make a button click. Phase 3 was all about saving simple data like numbers and texts. And in phase 4, we're going to be saving images. We're going to be saving images to storage and loading them from storage. So to do this, we're going to create an app that is going to have four pictures of cars, and then depending on the one we click on, that image will be saved to storage and shown up here. Then the next time the app is loaded, the image would be automatically loaded from storage and displayed here on the when the app is when the screen is displayed. So that's what we're going to dive into today. So first, let's go ahead and of course design this screen. All right, so going back to our project, our seed project, we need to create a new screen and call it screen 4. So let's right click on the package name and then click new and Android activity. We go to empty activity and let's call this screen 4. Screen 4, no spaces. Okay, and then click finish. Okay, so now screen 4 has been generated. Let's go to the XML file, and XML files are always under the layout file. So I'm gonna click screen 4. So there we have it. So let's go ahead and design what we have here. Need to rearrange this thing. Okay, so at the top we have a text view. Inside that we have an empty space with an image view, another text view, and then 4 image buttons. An image view displays only images. An image button is a button that can contain images. Okay, so let's start from this one at the top here, which is a text view. Let's dive into that. Okay, so we're gonna need a text view, which is this one up here. We're going to drag it in and then add constraints. I'm gonna do it from this right one here. We're gonna add constraints to all 4 sides. Okay, after that, let's increase the text size and the text color real quick. So text size, that would be under text appearance. Let's make it large. And then text color, we want it to be black. Let's type black. And then let's make the text style to be bold. We center it. And then one more adjustment, we search for gravity up here. Gravity. This one does the vertical centering as well. Center. Okay. I'm gonna press the X here to get rid of the search. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is to enlarge this a little bit. Okay. I'm going to make it match the width of the screen. All right. Then I'm going to make the background to be, what do we have here? I want the background to be gray. Let's see, so background grayish. Let's see, that's this one. Bring it down. Okay, that looks okay. So background is gray. Then we want the text to be image from device storage. I'm gonna copy this. So text, sometimes it's just much faster to type something up here. Text, oops. Text. So I'm gonna paste it in there. Okay. So now this one is set. I'm going to drag it all the way up in position, just like our design. All right, then the next thing would be to do the same thing for this one. So we're gonna do exactly the same thing, bring in a text view. Adjust the constraints. Let me do it from this one to improve contrast. So adjust the constraints all the way up, all the way down. So the next thing we're gonna do is to adjust the text appearance. So I'm gonna get rid of this. So text size, we want it to be, text appearance, that's the more dynamic type. Large, text color black. What else? And then bold, center, and then also make the gravity to be center. Check the box, center. Okay, then I'm gonna close this. All right, so the next thing I'm gonna do is to adjust the size of this to match the parent. Okay, once that's done, let's add a background. I'm just gonna copy the same background attribute I have here. So I'm gonna find the background attribute, this one. I'm going to copy this. And simply paste it into this one. So on the background is over here. I'm going to paste it in and press enter, and the background is copied. So the actual text we have is image from assets. So we're gonna put that in the text field. Okay, so this two is done. So now we just need one image view here and then 4 image buttons at the bottom. So up here, we're gonna find an image view, which is the one here under commands. Drag it in. Okay, now find an image that is very small. Don't select an image that is big for now. This is to help with adjusting the constraints. So I'm gonna select this launcher, foreground, just for now. Okay, then I'm going to add my constraints. Oops, I think I made a mistake. All right. I'm gonna zoom this down a little bit. Okay, then I'll add the top one. Okay, so this is done. I'm gonna drag it into position. Next, we are going to leave this blank for now, as in we're not gonna put in any image on there. So we're just gonna leave it blank for now. But let me add a background image to this one. So a good background would be, let's see, background, boom. Okay, what do we have here? We have green, so let's use a green background. Okay, sweet. Then I'll close this. So the next thing we need to do is add 4 image buttons. So image button, for that we'll probably need to search. Should be under buttons, yeah. So under buttons, you're gonna see the second option, which is image button. Drag that into here. Again, select a very small image so the button doesn't resize to be very large. So we're gonna put this here. Then of course would add constraints. Then drag it into place. So we're gonna do the same thing again. I'm currently copying and pasting the button so that I copy all the attributes. Copy. So depending on the computer you're using, it could be Command C or Control C. And then to paste, depending on the computer you're using, again it could be Command C or Control C, and to paste is Control V or Command V, depending on what you're using. Okay, so I have these 4 buttons copied. Let me go ahead and change their IDs just to make sure their IDs are not repeating. So I'm gonna scroll all the way up. ID of this one is image button. This one is image button 2. This one is image button 4. Image button 3. Okay. Just gonna relocate them real quick. So image button, I'm gonna put 1 on this. Image button 1. Refractor. Remember, the IDs are what we're gonna use to connect them to the actual activity code. Awesome. Okay, so this is done. Now the next thing we are going to do is to add images. Let me increase the, I think size is fine. The next thing we're going to do is to add images to these buttons. Like our design, we plan to add 4 images. Okay, so a quick way to do this is to go on Google and search, let's say, supercars. Okay, and then click on images, and then you're gonna find images of supercars, right? You can find anyone you like. Okay, I like this one, but just make sure that the size of the image is not too big. This one is too big, so don't use this. Find something that is small, because large, this one is perfect. Something that is large is gonna crash your app for this stage of our development. In the future, we're going to dive into how to load bigger images. So find an image that is small, like 750. If it's more than 1000, it's probably too big. Let's see, this one is quite huge. So find small images. I think there is an option to filter it to be small. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, medium. Let's see how that comes out. Perfect. So that filter works. So under tools and size, you select medium. That's gonna give you images that are sizable. Okay, so now you have these images. Find 4 images that are different colors that you like. like yellow, green, white, black. Okay, I already have mine saved in a folder from the internet, of course, and I renamed them to black car, gray car, green car, and yellow car. Because when you download them, they're gonna come with very, very odd names. So rename them to something very simple. If you're wondering how to rename an image file, just click on it once and change the name to whatever you want. All right. So I have this here. Once you have them in a set folder in your file browser, open up Android Studio, minimize the window, and then bring up the images you had. Let me organize this a little bit. So under your app folder, which is this one, there is a folder called res, which means resources. Under that, under the resource folder, there is another folder called drawable. So it's in this drawable that you will put in the images of your projects. Mainly images for now. So in there, I'm going to drag in this 4 cars. Okay, I can also do copy and paste. For now, I'm just going to drag them in. I'm going to put them inside this drawable folder. Okay, I'll press refactor. All right, so they're in. As you can see, they are all in. All right, so I'm going to go back to my design. Let me see if I can make this a little bigger. View, appearance. Okay. Now this is way too big. Anyways, let's see. View, appearance. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're going to assign images to the buttons. So the first one, let's make it according to our design. Come on. Okay. So according to our design, the first one should be the green car. Okay, so we have an error. Gonna get to that in a second. So the first one, we have the green car. So I'm gonna type green here. I'm gonna select that. Press enter. As you can see, the car blows up. So to fix this, I'm going to go to scale, scale, image scale. Where is it? So scale over here, I'm going to click the drop down and I'll select center inside. Okay, now I need to actually readjust my I'm gonna press Ctrl Z to get this image back to the original size. Then I'll adjust the scale. Okay, so scale type, where is it again? Scale type, center inside. Then I would add the image on the SRC. So green car. Now press enter. Why isn't this respecting my attributes? All right, let me bring it lower. All right, so for the next one, we'll do the same thing as well. The next one should be orange car. Orange. So background. No, that should be SRC. But before that, of course, we go to scale type, center inside, and then SRC. I'm going to select the yellow car and click OK. I'm gonna bring it back down. Okay, so I'm gonna do the same thing for the next one. The next one should be the red car. Let's see. So scale type, we want that to be center inside. By the way, center inside means to center the image inside the image view. Then fit start means it's going to pretty much try to allocate itself to the top right. Center means to center the image at the center. Fit XY means to stretch the image to the boundaries of the button or image view. Center crop means to zoom the image in and then pretty much just show you the center of the image. So we always want center inside if you want to show the full image. So we now click the image. You can either type in the name of the image here or click the icon and then select the image you want. So where are my cars? I'm going to select the gray car and click OK. I'm gonna reduce this. Alright, then the next one and the last button, this one should contain the last car, which should be the black car. So we're gonna do center inside again, scale type, center inside, and then we're going to select the image, which we want it to be the black car. Could be a different car in your case, but I recommend you name it similar to what I have mine named so we can be on the same page. Okay, just so you're wondering, I named this one green car, this one yellow car, black car, and then gray car. Okay, so I'm going to give them a little more space so they can be much bigger. I'm gonna do the same thing for this one, increase the size a little bit, and then this one increase the size a little bit. Alright, then lastly I'm going to make a little change to the system background, the roots view background color. So background, let's see, what do we have here? We have some kind of bluish. Yeah, I think this looks good. Yeah. All right. Okay, so so the app design is ready. The only thing remaining now is to work on the actual code of the app. All right. So remember, the goal is to, when this button is clicked, it saves the image to memory, the car image to memory, to storage, and then displays the same image up here. The next time the app loads, it shows the last image that was saved. All right, so let's dive into code. So the first thing we need to do is write the code that's going to launch this screen when we click the button on our first screen. Remember, our first screen is a screen that contains buttons that launches all the apps we are creating in this course. So that will be from here. So on the activity, which is under the layout, the the visual. I'm going to open up that screen. So we have our screen 2 button, our screen 3 button. So we need a screen 4 button. So let's drag in a button, add constraints. Oops. Alright, so I'm going to adjust the size to match the rest. And then I'm going to edit the name. The name, I want it to be screen 4 saving images. So screen 4 saving images. Okay. Alright, so with that done, let's go ahead and let me make this a little more bigger. So with that done, let's go ahead and make this button work. We need an ID. Let's call it screen 4 button. Okay, so that's the ID I gave it, screen 4 button. And then in our code, we're gonna need that ID. So under our main activity.java, which is this one here, under our Java files folder. So there we're going to create a button. I think this is where this so I'm going to create a button. I'll call it screen 4 button. Alright, then we need to create an ID for it. We need to initialize it, aka connecting it to the screen. So find view by ID, r.id dot screen 4 button, which is this first one here. Alright, so now it's initialized. The next thing we're going to do is to make the button actually launch our screen 4. Remember, we had this function here called set click listeners. So we're gonna do the same thing for screen 4. Screen 4 dot set on click listener, new on click listener, press enter. Then we just copy the same code for launching a new screen, paste it in there. And then I'm gonna rename this to 4. It's really that simple. So this will launch our screen 4. So now this is done. The next thing we should do is to test it. So I'm gonna exit this. So let's run a quick test and see how it works. Okay, it's ready. Let's take a look. Okay, screen 4 launches it. Awesome. Looks like I need to give you a little. I need to bring these buttons down, and we should be good to go. So let me go ahead and make those adjustments. Let's see. Activity main. Nope, not this one. Screen 4. All right. So bring this down. Bring this down. Okay, let's do another test and see. Looks like I need to bring the last two down a little bit more. I'll even bring this one up. Let's see. Let's shift this up a little bit. Okay, now let me run it again and check. Yeah, terminate and restart. Okay, looks good. Looks okay. Looks okay. So now this is designed. I want to show you how to launch an app in full screen. Before we dive into the coding of this screen, let me show you how to launch this app in full screen. That means the app is going to cover this area up here. All right, so let me show that to you. So going back to our docs, there is a link to the code that shows you how to launch an app in full screen. So let's copy the code. It's under number 4, opening an activity in full screen. Let's copy that. So I'm going to copy this. So in our screen4.java, let's put that in our onCreate method, so that this would happen when the screen is launching. So paste the code in there. Yes, import this. By the way, in case you don't know what I just did, clicking this or pressing alternate enter, depending on your keyboard configuration, will import this. If that doesn't work, you can click at the center of the red line, press Ctrl space, and it's going to bring options to import that. So you just click it. Okay, it works the same. So now let's run the app again and test. So now the app should show in full screen when I open screen 4. See that? So screen 4 is now in full screen. Alright, so with this done, let's now go ahead and bring in these 4 widgets: the image view, and the 4 cars. So let's dive into that. So first, we would need the IDs we assigned here. So this one, let's call this display image view. Let's call this display image view. Okay, refactor. And then this one, we named it image button 1, image button 2, image button 3, and image button 4. Okay, but I'm going to make some changes to this to match the cars, so it's gonna be easier. So for this one, since it's a green car, I'm going to call it green car button, okay, as the ID. So green car button. Press enter. This one, I will call it yellow car button. Okay, enter. And this one, black car button. And then lastly, this one, gray car button. Sweet. All right, so gray car button, black car button, yellow car button, and green car button. I'm gonna make a little change on the format of this green underscore car button. Okay. It's always good to use lowercase in your XML files. Yellow car button. Okay, green car, yellow car, black car, gray car. Awesome. So by the way, these errors you can completely ignore them. If you click them, you can click ignore. It's really just a warning. Ignore. For this specific kind of error, content label is missing, just ignore it. All right. So now let's dive into our actual code. So we bring in our top image view, which is this one. We bring it in. So say image view, display image view, semicolon, and then we'll bring in our 4 buttons. It's an image button, and then we say believe we had green car, yellow, black, and gray. So green car button, comma, let's see, what else did we have there? Yellow car, so yellow car button, comma, I believe the next one is black and gray. So black car button, comma, and then gray car button, semicolon. The C has to be capital. Did you notice that in programming we don't use spaces, rather we capitalize the next word, the first letter of the next word. That's how we make them readable. See on create saved instances. So that's how we do it in programming. When you have a sentence, you simply just combine all of them without spaces and make every first letter of each word capital. So let's initialize all this. So under set content view, we say green car equal to find v by id r dot id dot green car button. Then we do the same thing for yellow car. We say yellow car equal to find v by id r dot id dot yellow car button, and then black car equal to find v by id r dot id dot black car button, and then lastly gray car equal to find view by id r dot id dot gray car button. Now what happens if you mistakenly have the same IDs for multiple widgets? what's going to happen is when you click this button, for example, the same code happens. When you click this one, the same code happens. So it's always good to check your IDs and make sure they don't duplicate. So gray car, black car, yellow car, green car, green car. Awesome. So the next thing we're going to do is to create the function under onCreate function, under this function. We're going to create the function for our set click listeners, if you remember. So we're going to say public void set click listeners. Okay, and then inside this function, that's where we're going to call our click listeners for our 4 buttons. So that will be green car dot set on click listener equal to new on click listener, and then it's in here that we're going to write our code. So I'm just going to copy this and duplicate it 3 more times. Okay, then here we say this should be, we have green, yellow, this should be yellow car button. Next one is black car, so this should be black car button. And then lastly we have our gray car button. So gray car button. All right, so we have green car, yellow car, black car, and gray car. Awesome. So the only thing remaining now is our display image view. That's this one. So we need to initialize it up here. So display image view equal to find view by ID r.id dot display image view. So now that display image view is initialized. So so we have all this done now. Remember that the goal of this app is to save image to the storage. And to do that, we're going to be using TinyDB again, because TinyDB has a method that helps us do that very easily. So we're going to need to import TinyDB. We would say TinyDB, and then we're also going to need a context variable. Remember the context we talked about? Context, let's call it C. I like to keep it simple. All right, so let's initialize these 2 variables in here as well on the set content view. So context, which is C, equal to get application context, semicolon, and then the next one would be TinyDB will be equal to new TinyDB, and then you pass in the context, which is C. So TinyDB is initialized and context is initialized. Now they are all ready to use. So the next thing we're going to do now is to make our buttons do something. So we're going to start with the first button, which should be green car. So when green car is clicked, we want to load the image of green car from our app file, and in this case we are talking about our hold on. So in this case, remember our image files are saved in the drawable folder, which is under the resource. So when the green car button is clicked, we are going to load this image from the resource folder, okay, and then save it into storage. So let's go ahead and do that. So in Android, image data is saved in a variable called bitmap. Bitmap is the image data format in Android. So that's what we're going to be using to load that image into. So we're going to say bitmap bm equal to bitmap factory dot decode resource, and then we're going to say get resource, comma. In case you are wondering what function this is, or like this one up here, gets application context, these are methods in the activity class. That's why we extended activity up here, so that we can have access to all these special functions or special methods in the activity class. That's why we can call get application context without having an actual function called get application context. And also that's why we're able to do this get resource here without having an actual function called get resource. So we say get resource, comma, the next option there is to pass in the ID of the image we want to load from our drawable folder. So in this case, we want to load the green car image. So we say arrow dot drawable dot green car. Okay, so now this, it's going to load this what is happening? So this is going to load our image into this bitmap variable. So once that is done, we're going to now save this bitmap into memory using TinyDB. Remember, that's our goal for clicking the button. So to do that, we're going to say TinyDB dot put image. Now the TinyDB.putImage function, it takes in a parameter of the folder you want to save the image to, the image name, and the bitmap, which is the bitmap we talked about up there. So let's go ahead and pass in the folder, the image name, and the bitmap. So put image, the folder would be seed. Let's say this can be anything though, it doesn't have to be what I'm typing. Seed app, but it's but it has to be something that makes sense, you know. Seed app slash images. Okay, and then the image name, we want that to be favorite. Oops, I forgot my quotes. That should be favorite. Let's see, fav image dot png, and then our bitmap is going to be this bitmap up here, so we just pass in bm. So this line of code saves this image into the storage, the file system. All right, then the last thing we're going to do is, of course, display this image up here. So we say the name of our image up there, of course, is display image view. So our image view up there, so we're gonna say display image view dot set image bitmap, and then we just say bm. Okay, so let's go ahead and test this out real quick before we go further. So let's test this out. So right now we're expecting that when we click this button, it's going to save the image to memory and then show the image up here. And also to confirm that the image has been saved to memory, let's do a quick visual confirmation for the user. So let's say tools.toast. We want to toast something like image saved. And then comma, we'll pass in the context. Now this function tinydb.getImage, it saves the image and it saves the image and it returns the path to that image. So that means if you don't get an actual string, that means something went wrong while saving the image. Let me show you a sneak peek of what I mean. So as you can see, if something goes wrong, it's going to return null. That means the image did not save. All right. So let's do an if statement. So let's pass in the return value of this into a string. That is the path of where the image is saved. String saved image path equal to tinydb.getImage. .put image. So before we do this toast, we're going to say if saved image path is not equal to null, then we toast image saved. Image saved, awesome. And then we display the image up here. So let's go ahead and run the app and test. But before we run the app, we need to call this function in our onCreate method. That way our buttons can actually do something. So the last thing we have in our onCreate method is set click listeners. Awesome. Okay, so green button is the one we're going to be testing. We have an error somewhere. Let's see. Oh, forgot a semicolon. Cool. All right. This is not supposed to launch initially. Let's see. I think I might have made it the launcher icon. Hold on. The screen 1 is supposed to launch first. Let's do a quick check and see what's going on. And to check that, I'm gonna go into the Android manifest file. Okay, screen 4, this is not the launcher. Main activity launcher. Anyways, I'm gonna stop it and try again. Let's see. Well, I'm not sure why it's not showing screen 1, but let's just keep going. Sometimes these emulators, they do weird stuff. All right, so when I click the green button, it launches it saves the image to storage and displays it up here. That's exactly the behavior we want. So right now, this image is saved in memory. So the next thing we're going to do is make this same thing happen for all 4 buttons. It's really going to be easy because it's just going to be a copy and paste code. All right, so let's dive in. So I'm going to copy this code. Going to copy this code and paste it into our yellow button. Our black button, and our gray button. Okay, so let's just customize them. So black button, we want this to be black. the drawable, the resource black car. And yes, it should still save as that single file into that single file called favorite image. It's going to be overwriting it. So we don't need to make any changes here. This one, no changes. So it's really just the resource name. And then our gray car, let's make the same change to be gray car. So gray car, black car, yellow car, this one should be yellow car, then green car. So looks good. Let us test that out. All right, let's test that out and see before we proceed. Okay, so green car clicked, it shows up here. Yellow car click, it shows up here. Black car click, of course, it saves to memory and shows up. Saves to memory and shows up here. So awesome, this is working. Now, remember also our main goal is that when this app loads again, it pulls that image from memory and shows it up here. Let's try and see if that's happening yet. Nope. So we close the app, open it again. So as you can see, the image is not showing yet. That's because we haven't written the code to pull it from memory and show it at launch. So let's go ahead and do that. So how do we remember the image that was saved and show it from memory? A quick way to do this is to remember this variable. Remember that when the image saves to memory, it returns the location, the address of that image in memory and stores it into this variable. So all we have to do is to save this string, this path name, to memory, so that the next time we launch the app, we can simply pull that up. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and save this into memory. So if save image path is not equal to null, we say tinydb dot put string. We are trying to save a string to memory with a key, if you remember. So we're gonna say the key should be let's say fave image path. Okay, fave image path. That's the key we're gonna need to access this image the next time this image path the next time we launch the screen. So, and the value should be, of course, the saved image up here. So save image path. So now with this, next time the app is launched, we can simply use this key to retrieve this image. So let's go ahead and do that. So we say we copy this. I'm going to copy this because I'm going to need it. All right, so in our onCreate method, I would say bitmap bm equal to, or before I do this, let me load up the string from memory first. So string fave image address, I say equal to tinydb dot get image, get string, and then we pass in that key, the key we used to save it into memory here. That's what we're going to pass in here, pass in the key. That's it. So get string. So now we have the address of the image. So we're now going to use that image to load a bitmap. So you say bitmap bm equal to tinydb dot get image, and then we pass in the path, this one, favorite image address. Okay, semicolon. So now we have the bitmap loaded. So the next thing we'll do is we're gonna load it into our image view. Remember this image view here? We're gonna load it inside there by saying display image view. That's it here. Display image view dot set image bitmap. And we say VM. So with this done, we can run the app and test. But before we do that, let's put this same code here in the rest of the buttons. So it's in green car button down. Let's put it also in here, so that for each of these buttons it also saves the path to memory. Also in programming, whenever you're copying and pasting codes, make sure that you're not making a mistake out of duplicating stuff multiple times. So right now this code seems okay because we are actually saving to the same key, and that's intentional, and we are using this variable here which contains the address of the image saved. So let's go ahead and run the app and test. Okay, so let's try the yellow car. Cool. Gray car. Cool. Black car. Black car. Cool. Yellow car again. So I'm gonna close the app, launch it again. See, yellow car shows up. Let me try the green car this time. Okay. Let me close the app. Let me kill the app so that you see that it's actually working. So let me find it in my drawer. That should be seed over here. Okay, so screen 4, saving images. See, green car showed up. So let me do it again for the yellow car. And then I'm going to kill the app so you see. Let me find it. Seed. See, yellow car shows up. So awesome. So it's working. So that means it's actually saving to memory, and it's saving the path to the image in memory. And when we launch the app again, the image shows up. And the key to this is that we know how to save a string which contains the location of the image to memory. And we are doing that here by saying tinydb.putString, and we save the image location to memory using this key. This is the image location, and the image location is gotten by calling the code that saves the image to memory, tinydb.putImage. Tinydb saves the image using these configurations, and then returns to you the full path of that image, which includes the absolute path, like users / your name, and then the app folder. Pretty much it's a very long path that is created from this, and then that's what you now use to access the image in the future from the onCreate or wherever you want to access the image from. So that's what we did here. So with this, we are sure this app is working so far. Let's see what else we have to do. So we've saved image and loaded image from memory and displayed it when the app launched. The next thing I'm going to talk about is connecting different screens using wireframing. So what we've currently done in this app is already a kind of wireframing. We had screen 2 launch this blank screen. We had screen 3 launch this screen where we did the plus and thingy. We had screen 4 create this page. So this is already the kind of wireframing. Now, the reason I want to go over this is because you can't have this without first designing it on paper. And that's where the wireframing comes in, because for you to create something like this, you have to design it. You have to design it first. Um, a simple way to start off with designing is pen and paper, or if you love using computers, another simple way is to use something like Google Drawings, which is at drawings.google.com. So here you can, design your screens. You can design your screens, um, bring in multiple screens, label them, use arrows and stuff. Where is arrow? Use arrows to specify which screen launches which screen, you know. Um, can call this something like screen 1. On this one, you can say this will be screen 2. So you can do a lot of stuff. You just have to plan it out first. That way, when you are working on the app, the idea is already clear in your mind, and that brings you faster to the product that you're trying to design. And of course, you can also design the actual app from here before the full blown out design in Android Studio. You can design the buttons, whatever you want. You can design the buttons. It's really simple. All you have to do, and also again, you can do this on paper. You don't have to do this here. This can be done on paper too, but just make sure you design your apps first before you go into Android Studio to create them. And of course, design the goal of the app. With this said, this is a very basic wireframing I just showed you. You can make this one launch another screen. You can make this like this button launch another screen by putting an arrow on there. Oops. I'm going to increase the size of this. So it's really that simple. So with this said, this is wireframing, the very basic kind. The next thing I want to show you is the next app we're going to be working on. So in the next phase 5, well, congratulations, we are there almost. We're going to be creating a food order app. And this food order app is going to be the next level of app creation. App creation a lot of times requires us to have an object, aka class, that is going to hold the information for the thing we are creating. So the food order app is going to, of course, need some kind of mini database. And that's the reason why we're going to be creating this food order app, so that we can have a database where we can save the customers' orders and then place an order for them, and have all those attributes like the customer's name and stuff. So this is going to be fun, and I'll catch you in that next one. Meanwhile, keep learning Java or Kotlin, depending on the one you choose. With that said, I will catch you in the next one.